Good part of the day, dear friends, dear people who stutter, and my dear fellow speech professionals. My name is Anna Deeter, and someone has just brought to my attention that there is a video uploaded and published to YouTube. The title is Anna Deeter, and then it has the word warning. I call these kind of videos created by people who throw dirt at the messengers of truth. I call them fake news. Someone by the name Patugov. If I translate this word, and you know, at least many of you know that I always go by words, okay? So names are given to people for a reason. God or Mother Nature gave us names. We didn't pick them. So this gentleman has the name Patugov. Patuga in Russian means pushing. You know, when mothers give birth to babies, they push hard to deliver the baby. So this person also pushed really hard to deliver, to create this slander message, to create a whole bunch of lies, and then pushed hard and still is pushing hard to spread it around the internet, to infiltrate internet with his lies. The video has become a slander and defamation of my name, of my work, and in a way of the importance of millions of people who stutter in the world. I actually printed out the slander that they created, or they published it a couple of days ago somewhere on one of the sites where people could read it. So I have no choice but take my time away from my writing, from my teaching, from creating a new industry in the world, the industry of speech education, not speech pathology, not speech therapy or any other kind of therapy, psychotherapy, whatever. There are so many ways they have created to cure something that is not even a disease. I would like to go over this letter, which is written by someone who lives in Russia. The discovery has been made in Russia. The scientist, independent scientist who lives in Russia doesn't speak English. I wonder why these people spend some money, time, and energy to translate their crooked message, their slander and defamation message to English language. They are really concerned about the truth coming out, and the truth is hurting them because, of course, people who stutter are smart people. They are not dumb. And today, with the access to internet, anyone could go Google it and see amazing video reports that my mentor, Snezhko, and I produce. Only I myself have produced almost 200 videos. And I'm not even talking about Mr. Snezhko, because he's been educating people who stutter with the same 100% success since 1998. But let's go over this letter. So ladies and gentlemen, and by the way, I would like to mention, nice level of English. It's not bad. So Mr. Patugov, you did something good. You learned English language well. Congratulations. Okay, so I would like to inform you, I guess Mr. Patugov is referring to people who stutter or anyone who wants to find their way to freedom from stuttering. So I would like to inform you about Anna Deeter, a fraudster, me, a fraudster, who cures stuttering in 3 days for $8,000. Okay, a whole sentence of lies. The only correct thing, which I confirm it, yes, my name is Anna Deeter, and I am a real person. Okay, the rest of this sentence is lie, lie, lie. So let's begin from the first lie, a fraudster. How many fraudsters do you know that have been working 24/7, non-stop, for 5 years, producing videos, doing marketing, teaching classes, writing books? How many fraudsters do you know working like this non-stop? You know how many books I have written over the last 5 years? 5 books. 5! In Russian, in English. If you have ever written at least one book, you will probably know how much time it takes, how many efforts, how much energy, how much health decline it takes to write even one book. Okay? So a person who writes books, works non-stop, I wouldn't consider this person a fraudster. I know the truth, and I cannot take a break from my work until I'm sure that I have done everything in my power to spread the message of the truth over the world. Thanks to internet, it is possible to do today. So, you guess if I'm a fraudster or not, working 24 hours. The next, a fraudster who cures stuttering. Lie. I've been screaming at every corner. Stuttering cure doesn't exist and is not needed. I have never ever mentioned cure other than maybe in quotation marks, or maybe in the very beginning when I started learning this breakthrough scientific development called Etalon for the elimination of stuttering with 100% in only 3 days. Yeah, could have been. You know what, because I still was back then considering myself as an all-knowing speech and language therapist with 30 plus years of experience. I could have mentioned treatment, I could have mentioned the word cure in 2011 and 2012. No more. Stuttering is not a medical condition. It is not anything medical that requires a cure. It's not an illness. It's not a disease. All stutterers, okay, let me tell you, 99.9%. I'll give it like 100% to those who maybe don't have a tongue or maybe don't have a brain. Something that is missing in the body at the physical level. Okay? Maybe. But stuttering is a simple underdevelopment of speech skill. Did you hear me? Underdevelopment. That's it. No different from any other underdevelopment of any other skill. For example, if I am a bad dancer and I cannot dance appropriately, am I an ill person? Do I need a cure? Do I need to go to a doctor to cure my body because I cannot move my legs, my arms, my body, like for a special specific dance? Or should I go to a dance teacher, dance instructor? So the bottom line again, back to the letter. Lie. I have never ever said that I am going to cure anyone from something that people simply have never learned to do correctly. And I'm gonna stop for a second. It's very simple. When a child is young, this is when stuttering usually starts. Why? because a young child stops speaking. For various reasons, there are so many reasons. Barking dogs, like classical example. Today I spoke with one lady. She told me that she got scared of the chicken. The chicken was very big and she started running away from this chicken. She was scared, and that's when she started stuttering. It doesn't matter what the reason was. The fact is that a child is afraid to speak, and a child stops speaking. After that, some parents take this child to speech professionals, which again, please understand, I don't want to talk bad about speech professionals. I used to be one of them in terms of conventional speech professionals. I used to be a speech and language therapist and a credentialed speech and language conventional speech teacher working for California school districts. I used to be one of them. I was totally there. I didn't know how to teach natural speech standards. I didn't know that. And I also, just like they, I also would say the same. Stuttering needs a cure. And I would also say, in 3 days to cure stuttering, impossible. Okay? So, but let's go back to the letter. So once again, I'm going to repeat. I would like to inform you about Anna Deeter, a fraudster who cures stuttering in 3 days for $8,000. Hey, Mr. Batugov, where did you even get this number, $8,000? I am not aware of this number. I would like you to come to me and tell me where you got the number. And if you want to help yourself, go to my website, okay, and check it out before you produce these slander and defamation lies, and before you unjustly abuse a speech and language professional with 30 plus years of experience, the one who really wants to make and does make a huge difference in hundreds of lives, in thousands of lives. So let's continue. Anna Deeter, who advertises treatment of stuttering in 3 days, is a crook, since the information she provides is incorrect. Okay, I'm a crook now. Once again, how many crooks do you know working 24/7? Okay, how many crooks do you know write books? One book, after another book, after another book, after another book. How many crooks do you know work non-stop? How many crooks do you know would work in spite of throwing dirt at them, throwing rocks behind the corner by people like this Mr. Batugov, pushing to deliver lies and slander? How many crooks like that do you know? Okay, so, and once again, advertises treatment. No, I do not advertise treatment ever. Once again, I don't know, I have to look at my very first videos 5 years ago. Could have said the word treatment. I could have, because I was one of those who believed that stuttering required treatment or cure. No, no cure, no treatment, pure education. Okay, the next phrase this gentleman wrote. It is impossible to treat stuttering in 3 days. You know what? I agree with you. It is impossible to treat stuttering in 3 days, in 3 years, in 30 years, in the whole life. Treatment for stuttering is impossible for a simple reason. Because you cannot treat medically anything that is not a disease. How can you cure something that you have never learned to do, that you have no experience of doing it adequately? Just ask yourself, okay? And let's continue. I'll explain what these people use to deceive you. So here is another lie. Actually, two lies. I will explain. How can you explain, Mr. Patugov? Do you even know what we do? Have you even read this book? It's in Russian. You don't have to translate it. If you want to read it in English, here. In Russian, in English. Everything for your education. Will you please take your time and read it before you slander and abuse a person who works genuinely 24/7. Take your time to educate yourself. Stop pushing to deliver lies. So you cannot explain something that you don't know. The other part, what these people use to deceive you. So you believe that I deceive people. And all the thousands of Stutter-Free people who you see online, in many video reports, they are all being deceived, right? They are jumping up and down, they're happy. And by the way, so you knew, there are videos of interviews with former Etalon graduates a year after the program, few months after the program, a week after the program, several years after the program. What does it tell you, Mr. Patugov? Does it tell you that people were not deceived? People were happy. People were thanking Mr. Roman Snezhko and myself for making the knowledge, this unique knowledge, the unique scientific discovery available for them. Please educate yourself, okay? So let's continue. He has said many bad words about Mr. Roman Snezhko. I take it personally because I'm the one who works with Roman Snezhko. Almost on the daily basis, we have written many books. We've been communicating. And by the way, I've never met this man physically, in terms of I've never traveled to Russia to see him, and he has never visited me. It is the work that we have been doing together united us, made us to collaborate. I remember how I would say something and I would feel that I was right, because after all, I was a speech and language therapist with 30+ years of experience. I knew everything about speech, right? You know what he told me when we started working together? He told me, Anna, you gotta forget everything you have learned about speech and stuttering. You have to start from scratch. I was like, no, it cannot be true. I'm so smart. I've been working for 30 years. I have been such a successful teacher. And after I have said this word, I realized that's true. I've been teaching non-stop. Then I started kind of listening to Mr. Roman Snezhko a little more closer, because every time he would prove me wrong. When I would attempt to say something that I learned in school, when I was taking speech and language therapy courses, when I learned in school, by the way, in both Russia and the United States of America, that was my belief. And I would tell him about that, and he would simply prove me wrong by using examples, practical experiments, okay? So, and I just don't know why it happened this way, why I had to be in this position. But I was able to see the truth, to recognize it, and I was hooked on the truth. Oh, first I'm going to address the truth. Yes, there is a truth in this statement. Mr. Roman Snezhko is not a speech therapist. No, he's not. That's for sure. And this is why he was able to discover the truth, because he was not trained in the system, in the conventional system. But the second statement, he is not a speech therapist or a scientist. I would like to emphasize, he is not a conventional scientist. Mr. Roman Snezhko as an independent scientist. I can tell stories and stories about how he was treated 20 years ago when he first made his discovery and wanted to work on his PhD. Okay? He came to the University of Education in Moscow, Universitet Krupskaya. He came there, he brought his thesis, and he wanted to work there to teach people his discovery. But when a professor of this university and a personal friend, basically, okay, when this lady read the thesis, went through his explanations of his discovery, he said, Roman, it's impossible. If we let you do this, we would have to close down all the universities in Moscow. We would have to rewrite all the textbooks. This is how big this scientific discovery was and still is. But the time has changed. Today is the time, thanks to internet, when people have access to something that has been blocked for some time, the truth that has been blocked for some time. And the Etalon discovery is one of them. This is the universal truth that has been blocked by conventional science. So he's not recognized by anyone in Russia. Lie, lie, lie. Mr. Roman Snezhko has not been recognized by conventional speech and language scientists. Conventional science that still believes in stuttering keywords. But he has been recognized internationally. He is the member of the International Academy of Spiritual Unity of the People of the World. Here is the diploma of academic Roman Alexeyevich Snezhko in Russian language. And here it is in English language. Just read it and stop believing lies. Now, this document has been issued by the licensing government department of the Russian Federation. This license has granted the right to teach the Etalon method to Snezhko Roman Alexeyevich. The term of the license is unlimited. He has never worked in any academic institution, that's true. He is not a speech therapist. He is not a conventional scientist. This is why he was able to make a difference in thousands of lives. If you don't know that yet, go and check out video reports on YouTube and on his website. And I mean, anywhere you go, you can see it in Russian. And now, thanks to my work as a first successor, and the reason I could do it is because I am fluent in both English and Russian languages. Anna Deeter misleads you with the purpose of making profit. So she is engaged in fraud. This is a very, very heavy slander that I am engaged in fraud. In order to understand what fraud is, I really recommend. So this book is about where the fraud, real fraud, happened, when it happened, who was the fraudster, who was the crook. Okay, this is the book about reality, and by the way, it's very short. Take a look. Huge pictures, okay, huge illustrations, and even with these illustrations, it's only like 18 pages of a tale of two geniuses in stuttering. This story tells it actually has the real data. It tells how one Russian genius invented the false stuttering disease while the other one debunked it. So read this book. Read it. It's very short, very easy to read. Okay? And if you want to go for more details, I have included the historical chapter from all my books, like from this book. I've included a chapter about how this mysterious neurological disease or illness confused so many smart people around the world. How this fraud came to life. How did it happen? It's all explained here, and of course in more details here, but you will get an idea here with all the historical data that I released right here. Okay? So let's continue. So read it and judge it to yourself where the real fraud was and is still today. So, and the rest of the letter is actually promoting of themselves. What a noble concept, to throw dirt, to slander others who do produce 100% results, to promote yourself. Some method of one of, I don't know, her name is Nekrasova, Skoblikova, whatever. There are so many people who have been trained to look at stuttering as a disease. In general, we, people who have been involved in this profession, we are very big-hearted people. We genuinely want to help others. We want to make the life of people who stutter easier. We really do. But keep it in mind that even if your intentions are good, if you possess the wrong information, you will not do good. The wrong information right here, the information that confuses people, that doesn't serve them the way, the right information, the truth. If you don't have the true information in your mind, if you don't really know about how speech actually is being produced naturally, if you're not familiar with the natural speech standards, you're not. I wasn't. 5 years ago, I didn't know about that. So if you good people, Nekrasova, Skoblikova, and others, you are, I believe you are good people. I believe that. But if you don't know the natural speech standards, you will not do good to people. You will confuse them. You will make people suffer even longer by your, okay, here it is why I'm saying this. So Nekrasova's course lasted for 3 months and had a year of rehabilitation. A year of rehabilitation. While Dr. Svetlana Skoblikova's course for children lasts for a month and has a 6 months rehabilitation period. Rehabilitation period. Mr. Patugov keeps using medical terms. See that? Cure stuttering, treatment stuttering, rehabilitation. What do you need to cure things that you have never learned to do adequately? Why do you need to treat medically? Lack of experience. People who come to me learn. And of course, learning is work. And just as in any school, there are good students and bad students. There are students who get it quickly. Some students are kind of lazy students. It makes time for them, or maybe not diligent enough. We're all different. And just as in any school, there are students who are ready to work and work really hard, really diligently, and they don't accept anything less than highest grade, A+. In Russia, it's 5, okay? A+. Others are okay with 4, with kind of a okay work. And there are also some that are going to be just fine with 3, okay? Which is, I don't know, satisfactory mark. In our program, we accept during the last day of the class, day number 3, we do not consider our students graduating, completing our program, if they have not been graded with A+, not less. And you know who is the person who grades our students? Themselves. Only they can make a decision if they are pleased with the way they speak or not, with the way it's satisfactory for them or not, if they want to do it even better with a higher quality or not. So in our program, every student is a self-teacher and self-trainer. The class always begins in the same way any classroom works. The teacher demonstrates, here, this is the standard way, you gotta do it this way. The student observes and begins repeating. Okay? After this, repeating a perfect live sample, he may make mistake, of course, it may not be perfect. And my job as a teacher to tell him, nope, that's not good. You gotta get an A+. You gotta do it perfectly, not less than 100%. And a student works until he gets it at 100% level, not less. So at the end of the class, I'm on day number 3, I'm just sitting there. I don't do much. My students are doing their self-training. It's their work, self-work. You have to understand, in order to receive the result of speech mastery, guess who can give you the speech mastery? Only you. By doing your speech work. By doing your speech work, you can achieve speech mastery. However, the speech work must not be wrong. You should not be attempting to push that door in attempt to open it when the door is designed to be pulled. This is exactly what these people, Nekrasova, Skoblikova, Patugov, and thousands of others trained to look for stuttering cure. They have been doing it for a long time. It's time to stop this insanity. There is no cure for stuttering. Read my lips. No cure for stuttering. The only way to stop making mistakes in speech is to learn how to perform correct Etalon speech actions and stick to them till the rest of your life. Just practice correct speech actions, nothing else. And because Etalon speech actions are so simple, they're simple because that's the way Mother Nature created us. All it requires is just a lot of repetitions, yes, which we call speech work. The fact that we can enable anyone to stop stuttering in only 3 days is actually not even accurate. Recently, academic Snezhko has come up with such a brilliant way to explain these etalons, these natural speech standards, etalons, that it takes only 2 hours to stop making mistakes in speech and begin performing Etalon standard speech actions, which automatically, right away, cures. There is no cure. Cures stuttering. Okay? No cure, but I'm using your term so you can understand. By doing something correctly, you cannot do anything incorrectly. It's that simple. So this is what Mr. Patugov pushed to deliver the lie. So he has no idea what we do in this classroom, but he speculated here. He wrote, you will be taught to mentally divide words into parts, and then you will be asked to say them rhythmically and together, visualizing the division. Where did you get this from, Mr.? So enough about this slander. If you did listen to the whole video, if you did hear my words, but it still doesn't make sense, of what I have said, move on. Go and continue looking for a cure. I can guarantee that you will continue struggling, but it is not my life. It is not my speech that simply needs to be discovered. You have your speech. You have it. And you can speak in some situations, right? All stutterers can speak in some situations. But in others, they can't. Why? Because in some situations you have had experience of speaking according to this natural law of resonance that Mr. Snezhko discovered almost 20 years ago. You are following it. But in other situations, you don't. And if you want someone to guide you how to discover your natural speech, not in 6 months of rehabilitation, not in, what is it? They work with people for 3 months, 1 month, 6 months, year, 2 years. If you want to discover who you are, because you are a unique person, you are someone who has your own style. You don't need to learn to speak like someone else. You really don't. All you need to do is to learn how speech is really being produced by a human body and mind. To discover the balance between the mind and the body that you are in charge of. And this is a little piece of new science. Yes, we are biocomputers. We're not our body and mind. If you want to learn more, read this book. I cannot go against people who have no clue what is it that I do. Please educate yourself. Buy the book, read it, or move on. Continue struggling, okay? I'm here not to convince those that are not ready. My job is to bring this knowledge to very few of you guys, because not everyone is ready to work. A lot of people who stutter don't even want to get rid of stuttering. They like feeling sick, weak, handicapped. In some countries, they are even qualified for some government subsidies. In some countries, they even get some money for being a stutterer. Why would they get rid of it? And some people are okay living in a silence. Not everyone has something to say. So if you are one of these people who are okay living without expressing yourself as wide as you want, it's okay. Yes, you're not gonna die. You will live with stuttering. It's possible. Just don't complain that your life is miserable, because it will be miserable. You will continue to struggle. Lots of success to you. Anna Deeter, a passionate pioneer of a brand new industry in the world. Etalon Speech Education.